Hello there, thanks for joining me this Thursday. I am Mazlina Najri and these are tonight's top stories.
Government needs to stop the blame game. Soft drink manufacturers will not bear soda tax. US President fires Attorney General Jeff Sessions. And mass shooting at California dance bar kills at least 12.
The Pakatan Harapan PH government needs to focus on delivering its promises to the people who voted them in. Council of Eminent Persons CEP Chairman Tonton said what happened in the past is history and the new administration should stop pointing fingers at the previous government.
Speaking to reporters at the Afin Huang Capital Conference Series 2018, Tonton said that the people already know what happened and that the government now should start delivering and not repeat similar leadership mistakes. He said May 9th witnessed Malaysians working hand in hand to fight against kleptocracy and for freedom of speech, justice for all, transparency and accountability. He added that although the government has prioritized what needs to be done and have taken many steps towards change, the destination is still far away. Tonton therefore urged Malaysians to give some time to the government, led by Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad and his cabinet, who are working hard to reform the economy, which he said is the most important thing to do right now.
Now, former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak was summoned again by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC headquarters in Putrajaya. He spent about 4 hours to give a statement in a probe on the alleged misappropriation of funds of the installation of solar energy panels at schools in Sarawak. Datuk Sri Najib, however, issued a denial on his Twitter account that he was called in because of the solar panel project case. Datuk Sri Najib arrived at about 9:40 a.m. after accompanying his wife, Datin Sri Rosmah, at the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court this morning. An MACC source confirmed that the former Premier had been asked to show up on Thursday to assist in an investigation into several unspecified cases. One of them is on the solar panel project for schools in Sarawak, allegedly worth 1.25 billion ringgit, awarded to a Bintulu-based company. Several individuals have already been summoned for questioning over the case, including former Education Minister Datuk Sri Madzir Khalid in October. On July 9th, the former Special Officer to Datuk Sri Najib was remanded for 6 days to assist the Commission in their investigation into a related case. However, the 44-year-old individual, who is also a Datuk, was released on 16,000 ringgit bail with one surety. Now, earlier, the court hearing for Datin Sri Rosmah Mansour's money laundering cases were set to commence early next year, as nearly 99.9% of documents in the case have been handed to the defence team. Counsel Datuk K. Kumarendran, who represented Datin Sri Rosmah, confirmed receiving 600 pages of documents on October 3rd from the prosecution team. The defence team also informed that they would apply to transfer the case to the High Court soon, which had not been objected by the prosecution team. Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court Judge Azura Alwi then set December 6 for mention. On October 4th, Datin Sri Rosmah claimed trial to 12 counts of money laundering involving more than 7 million ringgit and 5 counts for failing to declare her income to LHDN. In other news, over in Pulau Pinang, a Grab driver pleaded not guilty in the Georgetown Sessions Court today to raping an 11-year-old girl 3 years ago. Teh Kim Huat, aged 49, was charged with raping the girl, now 14 years old, who was not attending school at a house in Jalan Kedidi, Sungai Ara in Bayan Lepas. The unrepresented man was charged under the Penal Code, which provides for a jail term of up to 20 years and whipping upon conviction. Judge Wan Azimah Yaakob allowed the accused a 10,000 ringgit bail with one surety and fixed December 20th for mention. Two suspects in the murder of a man in Temerloh have been remanded for a week beginning today. The suspects, aged 25 and 26, were nabbed yesterday between 10 p.m. and midnight. They were picked up in Shah Alam and Cyberjaya. In the incident in early September, the victim, Azmanche Aziz, aged 38, was found unconscious by a river at Kampung Bangau, Tanjung Temerloh. The victim was found with wounds on his head and is believed to have been stabbed at least once in the chest. The case is being probed under Section 302 of the Penal Code. Now, an unidentified body strapped with a backpack full of rocks was found floating in Sungai Sembulan in Kota Kinabalu, Sabah on Monday night. Police said the body, which was discovered by passers-by around 9:20 p.m., was believed to be of an Indian man in his 40s. District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Habibi Majinji said the deceased, who had tattoos on both arms, was clad in a white-collared T-shirt and grey pants. An initial examination found some injury marks on the deceased's face. However, no suspicious object was discovered at the scene. Habibi Majinji said the rock-filled backpack was believed to be used to keep the corpse underwater. The body was brought to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital for post-mortem, while the case was classified as sudden death. Now, over in Pahang, a 21-year-old woman was threatened by a man armed with a foot-long parang at a petrol station in Jalan Pintasan, Kuantan this morning before he made off with her iPhone 8 Plus. The robbery reportedly happened at 1:20 a.m. when the young woman had stopped to refuel her car on her way home. CCTV footage from the petrol station shows the suspect wearing a black jacket which covered his head, a mouth mask and gloves. An investigation found that the suspect was monitoring customers near the petrol station entrance before he rushed in and threatened the victim. Police are hunting the two men who are being investigated under the Penal Code for armed gang robbery, which carries a maximum prison term of 20 years and whipping if convicted. Police are advising people to be alert to their surroundings and try to put off refueling their cars late at night or in the wee hours of the morning. Now, soft drink manufacturers will not bear the newly introduced soda tax, which is set to take effect April 1st next year. Federation of Malaysian Manufacturers former President Tan Sri Lim Wee Chai said the additional cost will be passed on to consumers.
Yeah, 30 cents over 2 ringgit is about 15% increase. So, of course, this is expensive. The manufacturer may make only about 10%. You increase 15%, sure they lose money. So, they have no choice, they have to increase, pass to the consumer. So, to discourage them drink unhealthy drink.
Moving forward, Tan Sri Lim said manufacturers will introduce more alternative products with sugar substitutes. He was commenting on the excise tax of 40 cents per litre on sweetened beverages announced under the 2019 budget. The High Commission of the Republic of Singapore in Malaysia has denied a news article alleging its Prime Minister, Lee Hsien Loong, is One Malaysia Development Berhad, 1MDB's key investigation target. A statement issued by the Commission's press officer, Ziping Lin, categorically stated that the news article by a portal known as The Coverage is fake and clearly libelous. The portal had featured an article titled Breaking News, Singapore Lee Hsien Loong becomes 1MDB's key investigation target. Najib signed several unfair agreements with Hsien Loong in exchange for money laundering. Now, according to the article, former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak allegedly signed the deals with Singapore in exchange for the assistance of the Republic's banks in laundering 1MDB funds. Now we're going for a short break. When we return, we've got more stories. Don't go away. Welcome back. Now let's move on to our daily segment Clickbait, where we go rounds for what's trending in the cyber world today. So an anonymous Facebook user recently shared her traumatic experience with a flasher on Monday night right outside Starbucks Reserve at Four Seasons KLCC. According to World of Buzz, the local woman and 3 friends were sitting by the window sipping their cups of coffee when the incident happened.
Things took a turn when the man unbuckled his belt and began his prideful masturbation. The man seemed intoxicated, and the girls were made to watch his disgusting act of pleasure for 3 minutes. The girls asked for help, but nobody stepped in, as other people were probably also fearful for their safety. After the self-pleasure fest, the man casually walked off like nothing happened.
Now, an Indonesian flight was delayed for an hour on Monday after passengers kicked up a stink about what was in the hold: dozens of sacks of durians. Now, a passenger on the flight uploaded the incident on Facebook, with the story raking in over 2.3 million views since its upload. According to the Star, passengers disembarked the 10:40 a.m. Sriwijaya Air flight bound for Jakarta from Bengkulu after they claimed that it would be unbearable to fly through the odour. Sriwijaya Air eventually decided to unlock the sacks of durians, which caused the 1-hour delay. In the video, Amir claims there were 3 tons of durian that were removed from the flight to conform to the passengers' demands. Sriwijaya Air's senior corporate communications manager, Retri Maya, dismissed the claims, saying that the durians only make part of the total 3 tons in the cargo. The company added that the plane's cargo capacity was still in a safe margin for takeoff and landing. In other news, the Ministry of Entrepreneur Development, MED, has received a total of 50 applications from local vendors interested to participate in the 3rd National Car Project. Now, Secretary General Wan Suraya Wan Muhammad Razi said that the ministry will also set up a meeting with MITE to discuss this matter further.
These are local companies and they are interested to participate. So we need to look at their capability, capacity and move forward. But this will be part of the vendor development.
Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad had earlier reaffirmed his aspiration to build the 3rd National Car Project. Previously, the International Trade and Industry Ministry said it had received 21 proposals from local and international companies compared to an initial 14 proposals. Now, the government's move to introduce open tender concept for work contracts and projects does not affect Bumiputra agenda. Finance Minister Lim Guan Eng said, on the contrary, the measure offers more opportunities to Bumiputra contractors to secure jobs in a fair and transparent manner. This also automatically increases the level of competence of all related parties to offer their best services. He said through open tender, there would be no more direct negotiations or limited tender for certain projects, including government ones, such as those under Perbadanan Nasional Berhad and Majlis Amanah Rakyat. He added that the government is committed to not only boost the nation's economy, but to steer it towards an entrepreneurial economy. Lim said this at the 2019 budget special briefing session on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Lim denied allegations by several Kelantan leaders that the 2019 budget did not give due attention to the development of East Coast states, adding that such claims were completely baseless as the allocation provided for each state showed an increase. He said state allocation was raised from 27.9 billion to 31.7 billion ringgit for development projects, including Kelantan. Kelantan's allocation, he added, was also raised from 1.214 million ringgit to 1.376 million ringgit. He told leaders, especially those from opposition parties, to stop playing up defamatory sentiments and hatred and provide arguments based on facts and figures instead. Juveniles charged with minor crimes will be redirected away from formal processing under the existing justice system. Women, Family and Community Development Minister Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail said the pilot project, known as Diversion, will be implemented next year.
Untuk diversion, buatlah apa ni community service ataupun bayar balik ke apa ganding counselling and all this supaya dia dapat balik pulih, dan inilah kita punya matlamat supaya apa siapa budak-budak ni yang ada petty crimes tidak menjalani jail sentence.
Under the custodianship of the ministry, the diversion system would ensure that these children are not detained. Instead, they will go through an intervention program that is specially prepared for them based on their offence and background. However, she said the matter would be submitted to the Attorney General's chambers for further discussion prior to its implementation. Now, the St. Kitts and Nevis government has revoked businessman Low Tek Joe's passport. According to news portal The St. Kitts and Nevis Observer, Prime Minister Timothy Harris rescinded Low's passport in June. It said Harris's administration took the decision out of an abundance of caution to deactivate Jho Low's St. Kitts and Nevis passport through Interpol. It also said that immigration records indicate that Jho Low has never entered any port in St. Kitts and Nevis. It was earlier reported that the businessman had two passports using the same name. He became an economic citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis in 2011. His Malaysian passport was revoked in July.